How can my corrupt political opponent, crooked Joe Biden, put me on trial during an election campaign that I'm winning by a lot, but forcing me nevertheless to spend time and money away from the campaign trail in order to fight bogus, made-up accusations and charges? That's what they're doing. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis opened the investigation in early 2021. That was shortly after a recording of a phone call between then President Donald Trump and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger was made public. During that phone call, which took place in early January 2021, Trump repeatedly insisted that he had won Georgia in the 2020 presidential election, and he suggested that Raffensperger could help him find the votes needed to overturn his narrow loss in this state. Over the last 2 years, it has become clear that Willis is interested in far more than just that phone call between Brad Raffensperger and Donald Trump.
Look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
When she began the investigation, she said in a letter to top state officials that she was looking at potential violations of the law, including solicitation of election fraud, making of false statements, conspiracy, racketeering, and violation of oath of office. And she's been very interested in a panel or a slate of 16 Republican fake electors. These are people who signed a certificate falsely stating that Donald Trump had won Georgia and that they were the duly elected and qualified electors for the state. Willis took the unusual step of requesting a special grand jury. A special grand jury has the power to subpoena documents and witnesses, but it cannot issue indictments. It's really more of an investigative tool. The special grand jury was seated in May of last year, and between June and December, they heard from about 75 witnesses. That includes some really high-profile Trump associates like Rudy Giuliani, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, and they also heard from some top state officials like Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, and Attorney General Chris Carr. Trump himself was not asked to come testify, and he did not appear before the special grand jury.
Thank you for joining us. I'm here with the prosecutors and investigators who have worked diligently on the investigation of criminal attempts to interfere in the administration of Georgia's 2020 presidential election. Today, based on information developed by that investigation, a Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment, charging 19 individuals with violations of Georgia law arising from a criminal conspiracy to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in this state. The indictment includes 41 felony counts and is 97 pages long. Please remember that everyone charged in this bill of indictment is presumed innocent. Specifically, the indictment brings felony charges against Donald John Trump, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani, John Charles Eastman, Mark Randall Meadows, John Cheeseborough, Jeffrey Clark, Jenna Lynn Ellis, Ray Stallings Smith III, Robert David Cheeley, Michael A. Roman, David James Schaefer, Sean Micah Tresher Steele, Stephen Cliffgard Lee, Harrison William Prescott Floyd, Travion C. Cootie, Sydney Catherine Powell, Kathleen Austin Latham, Scott Graham Hall, and Misty Hampton, also known as Emily Misty Hayes. Every individual charged in the indictment is charged with one count of violating Georgia's Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act through participation in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere to accomplish the illegal goal of allowing Donald J. Trump to seize the presidential term of office beginning on January 20th, 21. Specifically, the participants in association took various actions in Georgia and elsewhere to block the counting of the votes of the presidential electors who were certified as the winners of Georgia's 2020 general election. The indictment alleges that rather than abide by Georgia's legal process for election challenges, the defendants engaged in a criminal racketeering enterprise to overturn Georgia's presidential election result. Subsequent to the indictment, as is the normal process in Georgia law, the grand jury issued arrest warrants for those who are charged. I am giving the defendants the opportunity to voluntarily surrender no later than noon on Friday, the 25th day of August, 2023. Do I intend to try the 19 defendants in this indictment together? Yes.
My name is Kate Brumback. I'm a reporter with the Associated Press, and I'm standing here in front of the Fulton County Courthouse in downtown Atlanta. Late Monday evening, former President Donald Trump and 18 of his allies were indicted in Georgia and accused of scheming to overturn his 2020 election loss in the state. Prosecutors accused the former president, lawyers, and other top aides in a sweeping criminal conspiracy aimed at keeping him in power. The 97-page indictment details dozens of acts by Trump and his allies to undo his defeat in the battleground state. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis said during a news conference that the grand jury had issued arrest warrants for the 19 people charged and that she intends to seek a trial date within the next 6 months.
The indictment includes 41 felony counts and is 97 pages long.
Former President Donald Trump is among 19 people charged in a Fulton County, Georgia grand jury indictment related to sweeping and expansive efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in that state. This is truly a large-scale prosecution. It is rare in the federal system to see anywhere close to this number of defendants be prosecuted all in one fell swoop.
Thank you for joining us. I'm here with the prosecutors and investigators who have worked diligently on the investigation of criminal attempts to interfere.
The prosecutor who brought this case, District Attorney Fani Willis, actually has extensive experience in prosecuting racketeering conspiracy cases like this one in Georgia. Most famously, there was a case involving educators in the county school system that she brought that also involved multiple defendants and was also a RICO case. So there is precedent for large-scale prosecutions like that, especially in Fulton County, but nonetheless, the idea of prosecuting 19 people certainly creates logistical and mechanical hurdles for any court. So typically, the way this case would be tried would be simply that they're all part of the same criminal conspiracy. And so although the indictment does delineate which individual defendant is accused of which conspiracy, the overarching conspiracy that's alleged, namely to subvert the results of the 2020 election, do suggest that they will be tried together.